I picture myself as an average guy. I'm not a great leader. I'm not a great gifted guy. I'm not a great speaker. My first discipleship group was a total failure. I'm just a faithful guy who's told God I'll go anywhere and do anything He wants me to do. Even though my first group was really a failure, I remember my first real disciple was a guy named Ron. 15 people in our small apartment having a beer party, and one of them was Ron, and about midnight or 1 o'clock, one of the guys started arguing with his date about whether you could know ultimate truth or not. And talk about a divine opportunity, I started sharing Christ with this guy and telling my experience of how I'd become a Christian. And didn't really get much traction with this main guy, but there was this guy named Ron who was in the background and listening to everything that I said. And I didn't even know that until 2 weeks later when I had to study for a big exam that was on Monday, and my roommates wanted to throw another party. So Ron invited me to come down and study in his apartment because he also had a similar test. So we were down there studying, and about 10 minutes, he was across the room, and about 10 minutes later he put his book down. He says, "Hank, I can't study. I've just got to ask you some questions because what you said the other night was so captured me. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't think about anything else. I came home and found my Bible. I've read Matthew, Mark, and half of Luke, and I just have so many questions. I need some answers." Well, there goes our study night. I wound up going through the 4 laws with him and answering a bunch of questions, and then we said, well, we both have to study, let's study. So we did. We took our tests Monday, and Wednesday I saw him again. I said, "How was your test?" He said, "Well, it was fine. But I think you should know that the biggest thing of the week was I took that booklet you gave me and I read through that prayer and received Christ yesterday." And he says, I just feel so totally different. Ron started memorizing Scripture and challenged me to memorize Scripture and started growing like a weed. And at the end of the year, he applied to join staff, and I was still a junior. God just really used him to motivate me. I remember saying at the end of the year, "Lord, if I could see one guy like that every couple of years for the rest of my life, I'd be happy serving you full time." And I think that was decisive in my life. And I changed my major and planned on going into ministry when I graduated, just because of the life of that one guy. And that's what happened. There were a lot of really hard hours and weeks, but there were a lot of Rons in my life, a single guy here and a small group there where guys really changed. I'm just an average guy, but we saw great things happen.